All right, guys, 2.3. This is part one. We're going to talk about long division of polynomials. Get excited. And synthetic division. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. You guys don't have to write this part down. But let's go back to third grade. I'm going to say 119 divided by 3. Okay, just follow along with me. Humor me for a minute. We would say, okay, 3 goes into 1. It doesn't, right? No. So we say 3 goes into 11. How many times? 3 times. So we put the 3 up here. And then what do I do here? Multiply. I multiply 3 times 3, and I get 9. And then what do I do here? I subtract, and I get 2. And then what do I do here? And then I start all over again, right? I say 3 into 2. Oh, it doesn't go. So 3 into 29 goes how many times? 9. What do I do with 9 and 3? Multiply. Then I subtract. I get 2. And then I bring down. But there's nothing left to bring down. So what is 2? My remainder. And I don't just put R2. We say it's 2 over 3. Everybody remember that process. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing right now, but with polynomials. So this says divide the polynomial 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4 by x minus 2. Everybody see that? Okay, so let's set this up. We're going to do this together. We're going to do a couple of them, and then you guys are going to say, okay, this isn't that bad. A period did a really good job with this today. I have 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. Okay, a couple things in order to set yourself up for some success. We have to make sure that this polynomial is written in standard form. Is it? So I have x cubed, then x squared, then x, then no x. Okay. And then after that, I have to make sure that there's no gaps. By gaps, I mean my highest exponent I see is x to the third, correct? Yes or no? Guys, x, the highest exponent you see, is it x to the third? Yes. Then every single exponent below that needs to have a placeholder. Is there an x squared? Yes, negative 19. Is there an x? Yes, 16. Is there a constant? Yes, negative 4. So now we're good. Yes, sir.
What if you don't have, so that x cubed?
Say you don't have an x squared.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to put a 0. We'll talk about that in 1 sec. But let's go through here and let's start our division. I'm going to say first term into first term. This little side work that I do, you guys do not have to do. It just helps me visualize, so I like to do this. So I'm going to say x times what gives me 6x cubed. X times what gives me 6x cubed? 6x squared. So I'm going to put my 6x squared right here above my 19x squares. And now what do I do with 6x squared and x minus 2? What did I do with the 3, guys? We went 3 times 3 was 9, right? So we're going to multiply. 6x times x is 6x cubed. 6x squared times negative 2 is negative 12x squared. Agreed? And I have to subtract. Now, guys, when you subtract polynomials, this is the same thing as saying 6x cubed minus 19x squared minus 6x cubed minus 12x squared. What do I have to do with this subtraction sign? I have to distribute it. If we forget that little step, your whole problem's going to be wrong. So at this point, guys, we need to distribute this negative. So it's going to change this one, change this, and change this. Now, the process is the same every single time. What's negative 19x squared and a positive 12x squared? Negative 7x squared. What happens with 6x cubed and negative 6x cubed? It cancels out. And then what do I do with this positive 16x? I bring it down. Sean. Again, I'm going to say first term. We're just going to do the process all over again. First term, which is x, into negative 7x squared. So x times what gives me negative 7x squared? Negative what? Okay, so negative 7x. Now get your subtraction ready so you don't forget to distribute. Now we're going to multiply. What's negative 7x times x? Negative 7x squared. What's negative 7x times a negative 2? Negative times a negative is a positive 14x. Do you see what we did there? Sean.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what do I do with this negative sign out in front? I got to distribute. So I change, change, change. And now we subtract. What's 16x minus 14x? 2x. And then what's negative 7x squared and positive 7x squared? Cancels out. And what do I do with this minus 4? Bring it down. And now we do it all over again. First term into first term. X times what gives me 2x? 2. Positive, right? So plus 2. So get your subtraction set up. Multiply. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And then before I can combine those two, what do I have to do with that negative sign? So change, change, change. What's a negative 4 and a positive 4? Cancels out. What's positive 2x, negative 2x? Cancels out. And we are done. What is our answer? 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. When the directions say, I think on WebAssign it says to divide the polynomial and then write the result like factored completely. What they mean is to write x plus 2, that's what you divided by, times, then whatever your answer was, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. I think that's like the second question, the way they ask it, that's how they want it written. I promise the more you do it. Let's do another one. Here's what you were just talking about. All right, what's going to go inside? What's going to go outside? Okay, so I have x minus 8 outside here. And then on the inside, I have x squared minus 74. Now, I told you guys, you have to make sure that your polynomial is in standard form. Right? X squared minus 74, we're good. And now make sure that every exponent is accounted for. So I have an x squared. What is the coefficient of x? None. So I have to have a placeholder. I have to put, you can put plus, doesn't matter, plus or minus, but plus 0x minus 74. You absolutely have to have that placeholder or else your answer will be incorrect. But you have to have everything from the highest exponent, you have to have every exponent represented. And if there is not one, you put a 0. A 0x squared, whatever's missing. So now let's do our long division. I have x into x squared. Well, x times what gives me x squared? X. So it comes up here. So get your subtraction ready. Now multiply. X times x is x squared. What's x times negative 8? Negative 8x. Before we can combine, what do we need to do? Distribute this negative sign. So change, change, change. What's 0 plus 8? Gives me 8x. What happens with my x squareds? They cancel. And then what do I do with negative 74? I bring it down. So minus 74. And now we do it all over again. First term into first term. X times what is 8x? Positive 8. So get your subtraction ready so you don't forget. Multiply. What's 8 times x? 8x. Good. And then what's 8 times negative 8? Negative 64, you're right. And now what do I do with that negative sign? Distribute, distribute, distribute. Negative 74 plus 64 is? Negative 10. Now I go to bring down. Is there anything else left to bring down? So what is negative 10? The remainders, the leftovers. So you just write your remainder as it's a minus because it's negative, and it's 10 over, what did we divide by? X minus 8. Perfect. The process is not hard. It can be very confusing if you don't stay organized. And it is a pain in the butt. I understand that. Am I going to give you 12 of these to do? Probably not. But there will be one on your test that says solve using long division, because I'm going to show you the shortcut here in a second. You can check using the shortcut, but you cannot complete it using the shortcut. Is there another one on the, yeah, down here. Okay. How's this one a little bit different from what we just did? You guys notice anything different? There's a coefficient in front of x on this one. That's okay. You still did the exact same thing. We have 2x plus 3 on the outside, and then I have 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. Are we written in standard form? Yes. Is every exponent below 2 represented? Yes. I have an x squared, I have an x, and I have a constant. So now we just go through the motions, guys. 2x times 2x squared. 2x times what gives me 2x squared? X, right? So put it up here. Get your subtraction ready. Multiply. X times 2x is 2x squared. Good. X times 3 is positive 3x. Before we subtract, what do? Change, change, change. What's negative 17x and a negative 3x? Negative 20x. Good. What do we do with negative 38? Bring it down. And then we do the whole thing all over again. First term, 2x, into negative 20x. So 2x times what gives me negative 20x? Negative 10. Good. So minus 10. Get your subtraction set up. Negative 10 times 2x is negative 20x. Negative 10 times 3 is minus 30. What do? Distribute, distribute, distribute. Negative 38, positive 30. Negative 8. And then what happens with my 20s? Do I have anything else left to bring down? So negative 8 is my remainder. So minus 8 over 2x plus 3. Very good, guys. All right, guys, we just worked on dividing long division of polynomials. In our first example, x, what divided by x minus 2? Well, there was no remainder, right? Correct? So when you have no remainder, it said that something is a factor or a zero of it. Meaning, like if I said to you guys, 12 divided by 4 is what? 3. There's no remainder or anything. Both of these are factors of each other. If you multiply 4 times 3, they're factors. So we're going to be finding out factors and zeros of polynomials using long division and using synthetic division. Okay, synthetic division you guys probably talked about last year. Some of you may not have. You need to know how to do both forms. Somebody asked me, can I just do everything with long division? No, you have to be able to do both. So let's go through this on how this works. Anybody remember synthetic division from last year?
Yes.
Okay.
That one's a little bit easier.
Okay, tell me about it.
All right, so like you do the little L thingy.
Okay, you do the little L thingy. I like it.
All right.
My little L thingy over here.
No, not like that.
That's my L thingy. Leave me alone. That's my L thingy.
I gotta go that way.
You do your L however you want. That's how I want to do mine.
Okay, so then,
What goes in the L thingy?
the thing, the top.
We're going to set x plus 3, whatever we're dividing by, we're going to set x plus 3 equals to 0. So our first step, we're going to say, okay, x equals negative 3. Now we're going to synthetically divide by negative 3. Some people like to put it in a box. It doesn't matter. But the process of this, guys, you guys are going to write out the coefficients of each variable. So the first variable exponent you see is what?
1.
X to the what?
4.
X to the fourth. What is the coefficient of x to the fourth? 1. What is the coefficient of x cubed?
10.
No. What is the coefficient of x cubed?
0.
0. Is there one?
No.
No. So you have to have your placeholder. What is the coefficient of x squared? Negative 10. What is the coefficient of x? Negative 2. And what's your constant? 4. All right, now we're all set up to synthetically divide. The way that this process works is you bring the first term down. So I bring down my 1. You multiply to the corner, and you add down. So 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And then we add down. What's 0 plus negative 3? Negative 3. Same thing. Negative 3 times negative 3, Sean, I got it, is 9. And now we're going to add down. Negative 10 plus 9 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 3 is 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And 4 plus negative 3 is 1. Okay, we're done. How do I write my answer? You want to tell me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just write it to the next, what is it called? The least got that.
The next exponent down. Why is that?
Because it got to go down.
Think about this, guys. If I was dividing, was it plus 3? X plus 3 into x to the 4th, whatever. God bless you. How many times does x go into x to the 4th? 3 times. Every time you use synthetic division, when you go to write your answer, you just start 1 degree less than you started off with. So this would be x cubed, x squared, x, constant, remainder. So you have the coefficients of all of your variables and your constant, your remainder right here. I have x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 1. And what's r? My remainder. So how do I write it? Plus 1 over x plus 3. Good. Very good. What's my first step? How do I know what's going to go over here in whatever you want to call it, the box? Okay, we're going to set x minus 8 good equal to 0. So x equals 8. So 8 goes up here. And then how do I figure out what my first row of numbers is? What do I do? Thank you, ma'am. Coefficients. 1. What's my coefficient of x? Negative 7. And my constant, negative 11. Bring the first term down and multiply where? To 8. Multiply to the corner and then add down. So 1 times 8 is 8. Negative 7 plus 8 is 1. 1 times 8 is 8. Negative 11 plus 8, negative 3. Since I started my problem off with x squared, my answer is going to start 1 degree lower. So my answer is going to be x, constant, remainder. So what is my answer to number 2? X plus 1 minus 3 over x minus 8. Perfect. Good job. All right, how do I do this? Tell me. What do I set equal to 0? The y plus 5. Okay, if you use x's, that's okay. So I have y equals negative 5. So over here, I'm going to say y equals negative 5. Then I write out my coefficients. So I start with 1y squared, 10, and 18. Whatever sign is in front of the term goes with it. So if it's a negative 10, you put a negative. Positive, positive. Bring down your first term and multiply to the corner. So 1 times negative 5, negative 5. And 10 minus 5 is 5. Corner, 5 times negative 5, negative 25. Add down. What's 18 and negative 25? Negative 7. So since I started off with y squared, my answer starts off with just y. And then this is my constant and my remainder. So what's my answer? Y plus 5 minus 7 over y plus 5. Perfect. Yes, sir.
So the remainder will always be after the constant.
Yep. Good question. All right. How do we feel? All right. One more thing I want to do. We're going to talk about something called the remainder theorem. Okay. The remainder theorem basically says if your remainder is 0, then you have proven that something is a factor of something else. If it goes into it evenly. When they ask you to evaluate using the remainder theorem, the only thing they're looking for is for the remainder itself, to tell me what the value of the remainder is. So if you have a question like this that says use the remainder theorem to evaluate, they're telling you not to write out your whole answer as a polynomial. What's the only number they care about? The remainder. They're telling you what to use to synthetically divide. What x value do they want us to use here? Negative 2. So I'm going to put negative 2 right here. You can put it in a square, you can put it in a box. I don't care. But now write out your coefficients. What are my coefficients? 3,
3, 2,
8,
3,
5, negative 7. Not the value of the exponent, but the coefficient. It's okay. You're fine. It's Friday afternoon. I know. Bring down the 3. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Then we add down. What's 8 plus negative 6? 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 5 plus negative 4 is 1. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. And negative 7 and negative 2 is negative 9. Now, the only thing that we care about, since it says to use the remainder theorem, is the value of your remainder. You would answer your question as f of negative 2. When I evaluate using the remainder theorem, where x is negative 2, my answer, my remainder, is negative 9. That's how you guys would write your answer, negative 9. Just like that. Only thing they care about is the remainder. Now, if my remainder was 0, what does that tell you about negative 2? If there's no leftovers, it means it does what? It goes in evenly. Good. We'll talk about that a little more. So what are they telling me to evaluate with here? What number? 1. So you put 1 up here. And my coefficients are 1, negative 7, and 10. I'm evaluating using the remainder theorem. So the only thing I care about is the remainder. So 1 times 1 is 1. Negative 7 and 1 is negative 6. Negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. So 10 and negative 6 is 4. So here, you guys would tell me that k of 1 equals what number? 4. Perfect. Last one. What number do they want me to use? They want me to evaluate using a equals 5. What are the coefficients? What's my first row of numbers going to be? Ooh, good. 1, 0, and negative 28. Why do I have a 0? Because there's no a to the first power. Very good. If you guys skip that 0, your whole answer would be wrong. So make sure you have placeholders for everything from the beginning, from the highest exponent down to no exponent. So bring down your 1. 1 times 5 is 5. And 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 times 5 is? And negative 28 and 25 is? Negative 3. So you would say what? A of 5 equals negative 3. Perfecto.